All right, and then I'll just give a quick agenda for this so we know. So we're going to start, Gina's going to just kind of do a quick overview of camp. Then I'm going to talk about, why should we invest in students going to camp for ACE? I know it's a big investment. Why should we send them? Talk a little bit about the cost, transportation, invoicing, those kinds of questions, the dates that are coming up, the deadlines, and then we'll talk a little bit about just the overall process of camp in general, and then we'll just open it up for a question, Q&A for this session. We'll do another one of these once the students are, the final students are chosen. We've never had these opportunities to have these kinds of meetings before, because before we didn't Zoom before, so we've never had these pre-sessions. So it'll be great with the students, and they can meet with the previous campers to ask all the questions that they would like to ask about packing and things like that they want to know about. All right, so with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Gina to give us an overview of the camp.
Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Gina Delamarter, and I'm the program coordinator here at University of Colorado, Denver at the College of Architecture and Planning. So part of my role is helping to plan and run the summer camps with ACE. So just a little bit about CU Denver, as we call ourselves, or CAP for short, College of Architecture and Planning. So we are an urban research institute, and we are located right downtown in the heart of downtown Denver. We're Colorado's only BS architecture program, and we offer Colorado's only accredited architecture, landscape architecture, urban planning degrees. This will be our 4th year running in-person camp. Last year we ran a virtual camp, and every year we get fantastic feedback from our students that they just have such a good time coming to camp. So this is something that we run in partnership with ACE, but we bring in our own faculty here at CAP, and they serve as the instructors. And we also have our current CAP students serving as the teaching assistants. And then we bring in students from CAP and CU Denver, juniors and seniors, to serve as the counselors. And those are the ones that stay overnight with the students at the residential halls and spend time with them in some of the additional activities outside of the classroom time. So basically for the week, students are here for a week. So this year it will be July 23rd, which is a Saturday, until July 30th, the following Saturday. And students will arrive, and we'll kind of get them started on the design build project for the week, and kind of setting the foundation for that, get students to start thinking about it. And then all of the classes throughout the week will kind of inform their work on that design build project. So students will be doing everything from sketching, sketch modeling classes. They'll be working on 3D modeling. They will be getting some training with hand tools, and a little bit with the miter saws, CNC routers, things like that that are in our fabrication labs. In addition, we'll be doing things like city planning walks with Denver city planners. We take students to Lookout Mountain, which is just at the base of the Rocky Mountains, where students do sketching and sketch modeling hike. And then we also have different sessions with the engineering department, as well as, of course, here in the architecture department. So what I wanted to share real quick is we're still finalizing the project and the schedule for the camp. This is still a work in progress, but wanted to give you a rough idea of what it's going to look like throughout the week. So from city and urban planning presentation, walking tours, computer modeling classes. We'll have some site visits. So we're hoping to visit, some construction sites, or to work with the city of Denver again on some of their urban and city planning, and that trip to the mountains that I mentioned. And then most of the time will be this design build studio, and that's when students will be working on the design build project. And this is what our faculty is envisioning for this year's camp. And I think this is Paulette's first time seeing this as well, but I think they're going to be working on a vertical city, and students basically will be coming together in groups of 3 to 4, and they'll be given the parameters for designing this vertical city, and then we'll talk about what needs to go into the design and planning of a city in terms of city planning, architecture, and how development and everything comes together to work together. So this is actually inspired by, this is a sketch from the faculty. This was inspired by, okay, let me escape this. This is inspired by this project here. I want to make sure you can see. Can you see my screen on the? Okay, so this project was something that one of our faculty worked on, and this is at the San Francisco MoMA. So this will have a framework put together for the students, and then they'll be plugging in with their components for this vertical city. The other thing that I wanted to touch base on, which all the students always ask about, is housing for camp. So we will be located at City Heights, which is a brand new residential hall here at CU Denver. So they just completed it this year. And students will all be staying in a double room. And in addition to having on-site housing, students are going to have on-site dining in the dining hall. So for dining, students will have access to the dining hall through access cards, and it's basically all you care to eat. And so there are options for whatever eating restrictions or needs you may have. We have it all at the dining hall. In terms of other activities besides the design build project and the classes, we also want to make sure that our students have fun too, because it is camp. So even from the beginning, the first day, we take our students bowling and they get to know each other and have some fun out before they start camp. And then we also do things like taking students to Elitch's, which is our Six Flags amusement park here. This year, we're looking into trying to take students to Meow Wolf. I'm not sure if you all have heard of it. There's a Meow Wolf in Santa Fe and a new one that just opened in Denver, and it's an immersive arts experience. And we actually have one of our students interning at Meow Wolf right now. So I think it's not only a fun opportunity for students to have this experience, but I think it also could inform their design work and get their creative juices flowing. And that's kind of it from me in terms of an overview of camp. And as I mentioned earlier, we're still finalizing the details. So once we hold an info session later on this summer, we'll have a lot more of the schedule built out, which we'll be sure to share with you as soon as that's finalized.
Great. Thanks, Gina. And that was great. And the thing about being here, the students just love being here for the week. They really just get to, they get to stay in the dorms. It's pretty exciting. Downtown Denver is awesome. A lot of them have not been to like the mountains, and they do like their sketching in the mountains, and so it's just a really good time for that. Some other reasons that I think camp is a good idea from the ACE perspective is it really gets the kids hooked. They can be a part of the regular session, but sending them to the camp really encourages them to come back. They become your best recruiters. One of my favorite stories is Kari's students came to camp. They met other students from around the country, and then they went back and they're like, we want to do the CERT competition, with the other students, ACE students. So they're starting to build their national networks, or at least the Western, hopefully we'll get some, some students from around the rest of the country this year, but, they get to go and they think they're making camp friends, but they're really already starting to build their networks, right? The other thing that ends up happening, a lot of these campers become like the CMIC students. So they are already engaged, and then they're getting the CMIC scholarship. So they become more engaged in ACE. They become better ambassadors to ACE. And then they really, really stick it out because it's just another extra thing that they're doing. And then it encourages them to realize that ACE is more than just their local affiliate. They can see that it goes across the country, that if they want to move somewhere, that they have an ACE family wherever they're going. And it just kind of expands their outreach with that. And like I mentioned with scholarships, the CMIC scholarships, but even at the local level, the campers are the ones that are winning the scholarships. They're showing up to different things, and that they're the ones that are really, really engaged in the affiliates. And there's a lot so that's like the main thing I think that for the campers that they really get out of it when they come back. They're pretty stoked about being a part of ACE that next year. And then some of them usually every year there's a few of them that are like, I'm going to Denver to school. So like getting out of their, their little local areas and really trying to get out and expanding for that. So that's like kind of a big overview of that. We can talk a little bit more about that in the question department, but I do want to kind of go over the cost for it because that's usually the questions that come up. So this year camp is $1,150, so $1,000, $150, and then plus travel. Now, in the past, we've been able to find like grants and things to cover the travel part for affiliates. So I'm looking for that now because flights are a lot more expensive than they were 3 years ago when I just did a quick check on that. So I am looking for that. No promises yet, but I was just in DC talking to all of our big, sponsor companies that we really want to do this. So hopefully we'll be able to find that and help out affiliates a little bit with that part. So how that invoicing works too, we don't ask for anything right now. Like I will book all the flights as well for the campers. So they all get into Denver around the same time. They usually get in either in the morning or the afternoon, but people are there from CU Denver to get them at the airport. So on my end, I'm at home with my checklist, making sure they're all getting on the flights. I'm communicating with the Denver people at the airport to say, okay, they're landing now. We always have something where a student might be, one student from Hawaii missed their connection, so I was on the phone with them, walking them to their next terminal. Sometimes they're on the tarmac for a long time. So we just really keep a close watch on them while they're in the air and until they get into the camp hands on this end. And then once they get here, we have pictures so they know where to go. They all ride the metro into downtown Denver, and then they are with counselors and the rest of the campers the rest of the time for that. I usually try to book on Southwest. That way there's no worry about baggage fees. Even if they do check, we encourage them to bring on a carry-on instead, but there's always like one place that maybe doesn't have Southwest and the student is checking in, their bags costing money and they're, having a hard time doing all of that. So that's kind of the cost. And the only other cost, sometimes affiliates might send a little bit of spending money with the student, to cover like souvenirs. Maybe if they go to the amusement park, they might get an extra, some sodas or something, but all that price, that the $1,150 includes everything except for travel. So that includes all of their meals. That includes transportation to and from the airport to the camp, all the transportation that happens within camp, because they'll go on field trips and they'll be on all these adventures. That fee covers all of that. So there's no extra fees. That's an all-inclusive type of fee. Like I said, the only reason they would need extra, so if they go to Starbucks or something on their own, they would have to pay for that themselves. So sometimes affiliates will give like a, I don't know, $40 or $50 gift card, and that's totally optional. Not everyone does that. It's just sometimes the students will get that done. For the flight here, sometimes, parents and students might be a little bit worried. Some of these students have never flown before. So a lot of times a team leader or mentor will go to the airport and meet the students there to make sure they get on the flight as well. But like I said, I have all of their phone numbers and I'm in constant contact with them until they are on the plane, even sometimes on the plane if they can text, and then when they get off the plane. So it is probably the most stressful part for me, is making sure that they get on that and off the airplane and then get back home. But it happens, and we haven't lost any students yet, so it's great. And then the next thing I'll talk about is just kind of the timeline. Like we're starting this a little bit later this year. I know with everything going on that everybody's doing with the internships, the scholarships, just the craziness of these last couple of virtual hybrid years. This kind of comes at an also very busy time. But after today, we will just need the numbers, because the max number of students that we'll take is 36 for this camp, because we want them to have, we want 2 students in a room. We also want them to have a lot of one-on-one instruction with these, university instructors. We want them to have a really good experience. We don't want them just to be sitting in the back of the room, because they're going to be doing program work. They'll learn, I know they've done Rhino in the past and Revit. So they're going to be learning how to do all of these things. So part of camp is moving around from these different, they might be in the computer lab at some point. They might be in the building department at another point. They might be doing something. So they're always constantly moving around. So we want to keep that number pretty small. So we feel that 36 would be the max that we could give those students that, really that experience where they feel like they're a part of it. Every student is a part of it. And then from then we'll have, so the 13th is when we'll need like the final numbers, because we want to make sure we have 36 students, because some affiliates do have like, they want to send 10 students, but we are trying to accommodate, all the affiliates. We'll say, okay, pick your top 7 or 6 or however many. And then at the end, if we're like, okay, now there's a couple more spots, they can always go back to those waiting list students and add them on. So we do get that full 36. We don't want to waste any of those spots. And then from there, we won't need the actual names of the students until May 31st. So by May 31st or around that time, we want to start getting their information because I want to get their flights, because flights are, even when I started looking already, flights to Denver during that week, that July 23rd through 30th week, they're already booking up for that time. Denver's a really popular place in the summer. There's a lot of things going on. So by the 31st, as soon as we can start getting their names, and then from there, Denver will also have a packet of information for them to do. Sometimes we send out the programs beforehand if they want to kind of learn how to do them and mess around with them before they get to camp. They don't have to. So if they don't have a computer, or if you're a student is like, I don't want to do anything for these 2 weeks before camp, we want them to enjoy themselves. But if some students want that, they want those programs before they come. They're very antsy to work on those software programs. So we send that out for them if they want to explore on them. That's not necessary. They're going to get full instruction once they get to CU Denver as well. But the thing that we need from the campers would be the names on the 31st. Make sure they have an email in the database that is not their school email, because all these communications are going to be going out when school is closed. And if we only have a school email for them, they're never going to get these, the information. We'll want parents' information too. So by the time that 31st, when you have that student, make sure you've talked to their parents, that the student isn't going on some vacation, or, that the parents have other ideas, or that they're even going to allow the student to come. We've had a few students that got all the way to the end, and then at the last minute, their parents were like, no, they're not going. And we weren't able to fill those spots. So make sure that the parents know the dates are confirmed, because we only do have the 1 week this year. So that week it's already set, and that's the only week for camp. And also that they are registered and active in the database. So we need to have that in there for part of the parent consent form and all of that part for ACE's insurance. And then Denver has their own insurance too, and their packet that they'll send out to the students that will come straight to the student family as well to fill out. And in that packet also includes things like, kind of like a personality type of thing, so they know who to pair up, in the camp room. So that packet has all of that kind of information in there, probably some curriculum stuff, information about Denver, all those other things that they would get later on. But that's the 5/31 date is where you start to need names. Now, if you're close, I'm very flexible. I'm here to work on this camp. I love this camp. I really see the benefit after the students come. So if you have any questions before then, if you just can't get your names to me by that time, just reach out. I'm pretty open all the time for this, and I can work with you individually. Like I said, it's only 36 students, so it's very individualized to, whatever I can do to help with any of that. And then I'll also keep you posted on what funding I do find for that transportation, because that would be great if we could help, if ACE National could help with that part of it, with the camp for this year too. That pretty much covers all of my notes. And like I said, we usually pay for the camp up front, and then we'll invoice the affiliates in the summertime, right around camp time. Gina, did you want to add something?
Yeah, thank you for sharing all that wonderful information. I wanted to invite Aspen. He just joined us. Aspen is one of our CAP students, and I was hoping before we start the Q&A section that we could have Aspen speak a little bit to CAP and to what the students would be involved with here. Aspen, I'll let you introduce yourself and all the ways that you're associated with ACE.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Very nice to meet you all and be on this call today. This is actually really exciting because I personally myself never had the opportunity to do the ACE summer camp, but I was an ACE student in high school. But just to introduce myself quickly, my name is Aspen Harris. I'm a Master of Architecture student at the University of Colorado, Denver. This is actually my last semester, so I graduate May 14th, which is very exciting. So just a little bit about myself. I hailed from the University of Kansas for my undergraduate career. But before that, I was actually, I'm actually a Denver native, and you may not be familiar with the high school, but Denver School of Science and Technology in the Stapleton community. So during my time there, I was actually an ACE student, and I got to experience working with many of the affiliates at CU Denver, as well, as they would come in and they would bring student mentors in and, just be super involved. And I think that was an amazing opportunity for me to really explore the opportunities within design. It was something I always knew I wanted to do, but it was so stuck between urban planning and architecture, like which one am I going to go into? So I think that kind of really sealed the deal for me during my time there. And also one great thing about DSST was, as juniors in high school, you're required to take internships. So during that time, I was able to express my interest in architecture by actually interning with Clip Architecture in downtown Denver. So I think that by having these mentors, by having these people that are really invested in you, not only do you start to get a different side, get a different view of that world, but you can also submerge yourself by, being involved in doing internships and doing stewardships and things like that, where you're actually in the field. So that's one thing I always suggest to my students. And so this has all come full circle now, because I'm actually an ACE mentor now that I'm in my graduate program, and I went back to DSST to be a mentor. And really cool thing we both have going on tonight, we actually are allowing our ACE students to present their projects that they worked so hard on all semester long tonight at CU Denver. So that's going to be a really fun event. We'll get to see all of the different high schoolers from all over the state of Colorado. Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, Castle Rock, Denver, they're all going to come together and present their work. They worked on an elementary school this year. And so one great thing about that, and what I think I can speak to the summer camp for, is that they'll really get a lot of hands-on experience. They'll get to come in and really dive into what is their niche. If they're into construction, they'll learn from actual structural engineers. They'll learn from different people within the field. They'll come and do lessons. If they want to get into architecture, they'll actually be able to get hands-on and get into Revit, get into SketchUp, get into these different programs that we use on a daily basis, and even work with some of the local architects. And then finally, if they're into engineering, which is also another great field, then they'll have that opportunity as well. And I think that it will be a great opportunity to see what the camp has to offer, but I know that just speaking to ACE as an affiliate program, that there are so many great things for these students to do, and so many amazing memories for them to make, meet new friends. And these are people that they'll probably have with them for a lifetime, especially if they decide they want to go into one of these different fields. Because once you get to college, I can say that you kind of built this strong community of individuals, because we're all going at the same task. We're all doing the same thing. And it's hard. I'm not going to sit and say that it's a very easy field that we're in, but it's worthwhile. And you get to create something that others enjoy and others inhabit and things like that. So I think that just it's an amazing thing that you all as parents and as individuals are allowing your students to come and work with our team and everything, because I feel like they're going to learn something so great and come back at the end of the summer and say, yeah, I'm definitely ready for college. I'm definitely ready to take that next leap. So that's a little bit about me and why I'm here, but just a little bit about why I do what I do, why I'm invested in these kids so much. I think at an early age, I didn't really have that so much myself. Representation definitely matters. And it's very apparent that there's not a large minority standing in these fields, but getting into that and seeing that I can be an impact for these students these days, it really just pushes me to go more and more each day, because you have kids out here that have never, ever even heard of an engineer. They've never even met an engineer. They've never met an architect. And so now they're seeing it hands-on, they're seeing it firsthand, and they're actually able to ask questions and explore the different possibilities. So I just think it's amazing that I can kind of be an impact to these students and kind of help them shape their futures. And I know that that's what Paulette and Gianna are doing as well. So I look forward to maybe even meeting your students one day, but I know that they will enjoy themselves over the summer in Colorado. So you're definitely in good hands. And I don't know if you guys want me to say anything else, but I did want to just say, why I'm here and what I got out of the program. And now I'm going to be a 5-year or 6-year architecture student at this point. So that's really exciting.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. I feel like Aspen, you need to be the face of Denver ACE.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And Aspen, thank you for sharing your story, because these are the stories that keep me motivated to continue working hard for ACE and, moving forward, even when through the tough times. So I really appreciate you coming on and saying all of that. And it really does show, what it does when we invest in the students here.
Really, thank you so much. Thank you all for your time, and thank you for allowing me to just come on here and speak. And I hope you guys can kind of explore some of the different projects that we've created this year during your summer camp as well.
Yeah, and Aspen, I'm here, so I'm going to be joining that little, the tour, and I'll be here tonight as well, and I'll be back for summer camp too. And congratulations to you. The chat's blown up. I don't know if you're reading that, but that's an accomplishment.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, so with that, we're going to just open it up to questions. If anyone has any questions, I'm here. We're all here to answer them for you. And like I said, oh yeah, Jennifer.
So we sent out the form, the interest form link to our students. And I don't know, I think Holly had heard that one of our students applied, but it's possible some students applied that we didn't know about. So will you let us know if Boston?
Yeah, yes, I will. So what I'll do is I'll send that list out to each of the regional directors, and then they'll reach out to you, or I can send it straight to you too. I have your email. Everyone on here I'm familiar with. So there's, I can send it straight to you, and I'll copy your regional director on there too. I just checked, and there are 8 students that did actually use the form. So thank you for sending it out. And
not 8 from Boston though, right?
No, not 8 from Boston. Yeah. And yeah, I know. I think one of my groups LA sent it out, and she wrote me back like as soon as she sent it out. She's like, I've already got 10 kids that are responding. So, which is good to hear that the students are excited about camp this summer. So I'm going to make a note. I'll make sure I get that list out to you as soon as possible, Jennifer.
I have a question. So how does it work? I'm not sure my daughter has received any form to fill out or anything. How does the sign up registration process work?
Yeah, so that's a little bit different in every affiliate. So I would encourage your daughter to ask her, the team leader of her team, what the process is. So some affiliates have, they'll send it out with their like scholarship applications. They'll put like in LA, we have like, I don't know, 8 to 10 different camps that we send students to. So there's a camp application with the dates and all of those kinds of things on there. And then the students fill that out. And from that, they pick the students. So each affiliate does it a little bit differently. So make sure that you have your student reach out to her team leader, and that information should be coming very soon. And Carson, you said you were in Oakland?
In San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay, perfect. Does anyone else have? Oh yeah, Kari, do you have anything to add? You've sent a lot of students to camp over the years.
I have, and I've already submitted. I've already reached out to you with tons of questions. But just to confirm too, do students need to be vaccinated to be on campus? And what does that mean, vaccinated?
So. Yeah, right now we are requiring students to be vaccinated per the university regulations, and we're following the state of Colorado pretty closely. That could very well change. We're also requiring students because they are living in the residential hall and sharing rooms and sharing space with students, and that's a requirement for being in the residential halls. For our students, the university students, that has meant the 2 vaccines, including the booster shot. We will send out more information to the students that are registered on what that's going to look like. We may not be as firm with the requirements depending on how COVID changes over the next couple months. But as of now, yes, vaccinations are required.
Thank you for asking that. I know that was the one I even had, I was like, make sure you put that on the site. That's the only question I'm getting. So yeah, it's good to answer. Does the timing seem to be okay? Like with getting the number? I mean, I think Kari, you've already sent me, kind of a preliminary number, and then getting the names by the end of the month. I know everyone's really busy. We can be a tiny bit, flexible on that with like the flights, because it's really just to get those flights in place and the paperwork back from the student. So we, and also getting them closer to the end of the school year before they escape into the summer, because July will be a long time after they get out of school.
Would you know when will the student know if they get selected, the time frame?
Min, where affiliate or where do you live?
Seattle, Washington.
In Seattle, I believe, I think that the team leaders are in the process of getting the application out right now. So did you get an application yet from your team leader or from your affiliate?
The application, it is on the email. Yeah, I think my son has the application.
Okay. All right, perfect. So yeah, so it's different for every affiliate. So definitely reach out to whoever sent that affiliate or that email to you. It's probably Angela that sent it out or the team leader. And you can ask when her deadline is, because every affiliate is different. And sometimes even the teams are different, but it will be, probably coming up in the next couple of weeks since our deadlines are going to be mid-May.
Thank you.
Sure. And as like, I think, Ron, did you just put, oh yeah, it has to be, like Jennifer said, it has to be decided at the boards, how much to budget and things like that. That's why the number is due first before the student, because you might have 10 applicants, but only budgeting for two students. So to pick those students out, that's why we know the number might be, we can get that number first.
We're sort of in the same spot as Jennifer is, to be honest, but I think the timeline is fine for us.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Yeah, and like I said, if anyone needs a little bit more time, just let me know and I'll work with Gina and CU Denver to accommodate that. All right, if there's no other questions, that must mean we've done a really good job, Gina. And and everyone's excited about camp. I'm excited. I usually come as well. We've also had, some meetings here too, where some affiliate leaders have come to see the camp in action. And that's been really successful too, but guaranteed the kids have an amazing time. They always, the last time we were here in person, I got to take a group. I had the early flight, like a 5, 6 a.m. flight, and I had a shuttle. So I went to go pick up the students, and they had just been up all night talking when I went to go gather them up because they didn't want to say goodbye. So they spent the entire night before they left awake, just all hanging out in whatever pool room. I went in there, they had their suitcases. It's really nice to see. And especially after the last couple of years of all these students have had, it's gonna be a really great time to be at a summer camp. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, please reach out to me again. I don't know if I introduced myself. I'm Paulette. I'm the Western Regional Director for ACE National. We've been doing summer camp out here in the West for, gosh, probably over 10 years. CU Denver, like Gina said, this will be our 4th year in person here at CU Denver. And some of the other projects, we had really talked about some of the other projects. They have designed furniture for like a patio here. They've made Wi-Fi stations down by the river for the students to go to. One year they did patio furniture like out that faced downtown Denver. So they're actually cutting these pieces, designing. This sculpture looks like it's going to actually have a permanent home at CU Denver, which is going to be really cool. So yeah, I get super stoked about camp. So, and I can keep on going like I can normally do with ACE, but if there are no other questions, then we will wrap this up. And if you do have any questions, please reach out anytime. All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Hope to see some of your students this summer.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.